So here I'd like to invite you to raise your hands. Whoever ever has felt that they're not ready, they're not good enough, or they feel they're not strong enough. So we see a lot of people who have raised their hands. Um, so this is not a confidence problem. So what we've been taught all our lives is you need to be confident. We need to be prepared. We need to think. We need to plan. And one day will come when you will be able to start. So confidence is not when you start. Confidence is gained or earned by actually doing. This is something that I learned hard way by doing. When I thought that, okay, I'm not able to start, maybe I don't have the confidence. But confidence is not as required to start. So I'll tell you about my journey. I was studying in the US. I was an engineer from Georgia Tech. It's a university very well known in the US in Atlanta. I had a very good high-paying job in Honeywell. So I was doing my engineering job, and I thought I was doing pretty good. I think I was on a good, successful path. Then I got a call from my dad. He said that, okay, we're going to start a new business. I asked him, what is this business? So he told me, we want to start a sari business. And I really thought about it. And I remembered the days when I was young. And I used to hate going to sari shop. It was a miserable experience. I used to hate being in the store. And I used to always want to run. And then I came upon this question that should I ever think of being in the sari shop? Should I make that my future? And that's something I thought that doesn't resound with my engineering background. If I've studied in the US, why will I go back and start a sari shop? Then I thought about it. I gave it a thought, maybe 10, 15 days. And then I spoke to my elder brother. So we had three brothers who run this business. That's Saurabh, myself, and my younger brother Nishit. So I spoke to my brother Saurabh. What was the thinking behind opening this store? Little more context. So we were into fabrics business before this, and my brother was getting married in India. He had also studied in Australia, and he was coming back. And he said that when I tried to shop something for myself, I couldn't find anything which I like. Either something was very expensive or something was really cheap, and there are no brands, right? So let's pick a rich luxury brand which doesn't exist in India. So I thought about it and I made a decision that why don't I come back to India, start this. I wasn't ready. So 2007 is when we opened the first store. All these years have passed. Now it is one of the most recognized Indian ethnic wear brands. So the journey was like, so the journey wasn't that easy, right? Uh, there were a lot of voices which were coming to me and everybody, right? What are the risks involved in it? How will you manage this? Is there a safety net? Whenever you start a business, there are obviously the costs involved. If you open a store, there's rents you have to pay, the salaries you have to pay, you have to pay your vendors. So there was a voice telling me that, is it worth taking this risk? Second was the mismatch. I was an engineer trying to build a fashion brand. That did not make sense. When I told my friends that I'm going to India to start a business, and they were surprised. They were like, why did you come to US then? If you wanted to start a business, you should have not done engineering. That really made me think, am I going doing the right thing? Am I going on the right path? This is something I'm doing wrong. And then obviously there's the inner voice that talks to you, that tells you you are not good enough. Are you doing the right thing? Who do you think you are? Do you think you can really do this? So 6 months passed. We opened the store. The business was not doing well. The orders were not coming in. We didn't have any systems in place. The customers were not happy. And I was really doubting myself. What am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Is this the right place for me? Should I just go back to the US? I spoke to a friend of mine who told me that why don't you go to the US? You come back to the US, you will have a manager here. You talk to your manager, then manager is going to help you and get you back to the US. I really thought about it. What am I doing? What should I do? Should I go back to the US or try to build this? And then I took one decision. Nothing changed. There was no clarity, no confidence. I just took a decision that let me make this happen. While doing this, I understood that it's not about who you are or what you're doing. It's who you are being, what you are causing. And that's what changed for me. So this is how the stores used to look when we opened the store. Uh, there were no brands in the ethnic wear space. They were all very cluttered and no digital presence, no technology whatsoever. And then we created a vision to create a brand because there was no brand in ethnic wear. We decided that we need to create a space which is very inclusive. And just we had the vision. We just made a decision that this is what we want to cause. So we did lots of things over the years. The plans changed, things changed, but our decision didn't change. We had decided that we are going to be this brand which is going to speak to global audience. That stayed on. A few things that we did was we brought in a stylist. No one had heard about a stylist in ethnic wear space. So we made that space very inviting. No more pushing, no more salesmanship, only guiding the customer to what is required. And this comes back to my story. When I was a kid, I used to hate going to a store because they were very pushy. So we created this stylist concept where you can be yourself. Second was the less is more. So all the stores were focusing on getting more and more things in the store, having more variety. So we discussed and we analyzed and we decided that we're going to focus on the core customer and we're going to sell only to the core customer. And then we did something that everybody told us not to do, was to go online. This is 2011. India is almost on 2G network and we are going online. Everyone told us that you have to sell something which is around 500,000 rupees max. And what we were selling in stores was around 15,000 rupees. That was the average selling price for us. So everybody said, that's not going to work. What are you trying to do? You're not going to be able to do this. And that's when I tried to learn how e-commerce works. I had no idea how e-commerce works. I was an engineer. I was not a retailer. But I learned, I studied, I made a lot of mistakes. And that's when I figured something about myself that I'm not going to be one who quits. I'm going to work hard and I'm going to make it happen. So what I changed was not the results. What changed was me. A lot of times people think that results define your identity, but it's not the way that works. What works is first to define your identity. That decides what you choose. What you choose decides what action you're going to take, and what action you take will drive your results. So for everyone else, if you're getting low marks, that doesn't mean that you are not good. That is not your identity. That is just somewhere you need to focus if you're getting low marks. If you're not selected, and if you're rejected, that means you have to work harder. If you're not, that should build more hunger. If you're getting compared, then that's not a setback. That is something that you have to work on and see that someone else can do better. So I can also do that. So in the world we are, right? A lot of things are changing. The jobs are changing. There is AI now. Technology will keep coming. New and new things will come, which work today won't work tomorrow. So what do you do in this situation, right? You work on your character. You work on who you really are. There's a very famous story, right, about uh, who you are being when you're doing versus what you're doing. So I'll tell you what works at KALKI. KALKI, we don't sell ethnic wear. We create celebrities. We make them celebrity in their occasion. That is what we are creating. When my salesperson is trying to do that versus selling, his experience is very different. What he's doing in the store is very different versus someone who's trying to just sell. So you need to create that character, and character is what stays. Technology will change, but you won't change, right? So you have to adapt to what's happening in the world. So if I have to talk to my younger self, these are the three things that I will tell that younger self of mine. Uh, and these are the three things that you should take away from this talk. So start before you're ready. Don't wait that the perfect time will come and then things will start to move. You have to start and the confidence will build later. Because before that is all a story you're telling yourself that you know why things will work or will not work. You will only find out if it worked after you start. So start first. Second is treat every problem like a training. It's teaching you then real problem. And don't think that you are a failure. If things don't work, that event was a failure, not you. So I'll give an example. If there is a cricket match, Virat Kohli gets out on zero. That doesn't mean he's a failure. That event was he failed. That inning was he failed, but he did not become a failure. And that's the story that we create. When we try to do things and we fail, we make that story about ourselves. We give that life sentence to ourselves and give that limiting belief that this is what I can do or this is what I cannot do. But that doesn't define you. So keep working on it, keep learning from it, and you will find your path. And last is who you want to become. What's your identity? Why are you here? What is your purpose? So same purpose we created with Kalki. Kalki we first created that the brand is what we want to create. We want to sell to the global audience. And then we kept finding pathways. Similarly, for you guys, it's the same. That you have to first figure out who you really want to be, who you want to be known as, and then create those pathways to cause that. And once you are working on it, automatically the results will come. So really it depends on what you are trying to focus on and what you want to become. So when I was young, I decided that I'm not going to be a quitter. I'm going to make sure that things work, and that worked for me. So when you go up and when you look back, you will understand that a lot of days were easy, but you forget those days. You will only remember the days when you were brave to take some decisions. When I look at my younger self, when I was 21, 22, making that big decision to come back to India was a brave one. So uh, don't be worried, don't be scared to take those decisions and start. So here is my final slide. What I want to tell you, all those people who raised their hands, I would acknowledge you and invite you to take that next step. Start, start. Where you're missing out, maybe it's a new job that you want to take, a career you want to change, a startup you want to do, a conversation that you want to do with someone important and you are holding on, waiting for the right time to start. That will never come. That day is never going to come. Confidence comes only after acting. Confidence doesn't make you start. Confidence comes when you act on the action. Action gives performance, and performance gives result. So, I'd like to ask this last question to everyone. Is there one decision that is pending for you to take? And I would invite you to take it today. Thank you.